Well, it wasn't something that I was ever really planning on. I was always kind of taught, like, oh yeah, like, you're gonna go to college and then, like, maybe a mission, but you're probably gonna get married. And I was like, oh, okay. Then the age changed, and I didn't know why, but I found myself calling my parents. And I was like, I'm serving a mission. And, like, I didn't really think I was going to say that until I was on the phone with them, and then I said it, and I was like, oh no, like, what have I done? And they said, that's great. And I was like, no, you're not watching Conference. They just changed the age. And they were like, oh, okay. And so I'm like, no, I'm serving this year. And they're like, okay. And so I think it was just inspired that I felt like it was what I needed to do, even though I'd never really considered it before, but it was just something that felt right in the moment, and I followed that. I never really got a confirmation that, like, yes, go on a mission until I had my call in my hands. So it was a really big act of faith. I just figured, like, it's something that I wanted to do. It was something that I felt like would be a good thing to do. And it was really scary, and, like, pushing the little send button on my papers was the big, I was kind of like, okay, like, strike me with lightning if I'm not supposed to go. Like, tell me something. And I didn't get anything. And so I put my papers in, and I still, like, just, the process was really long, and the wait was really long, and I was like, am I really supposed to go? But then when I had my call in my hands and I read where I was going, I just got, like, this really overwhelming feeling of just love for the people in Colorado. And I mean, I didn't know any of them, and so that was kind of weird for me, but that was my confirmation of, like, you did the right thing. You're going where you're supposed to go. The week before I got my call, I felt really strongly like I was going speaking a language, but stateside. And then when I got my call, I was called English, and I said, okay, cool, half right, let's do it. And I was called to go into the MTC about a month later, and then when I got into the field, they switched me to Spanish after 6 weeks of being a missionary. So the feeling that I got was right, but then I knew that I was supposed to be English at first to meet my companion, my MTC companion, and to go to the area that I was supposed to start in, because it was a Spanglish area. So I wouldn't have gone there if I hadn't been an English missionary. But so that's where I was supposed to end up, and I know that. I spoke French for 10 years beforehand. It was my first language, and then I learned English. And then I always thought Spanish was kind of like, I did never really have a desire to learn Spanish because, like, I know French, whatever. Like, I don't even like Spanish. And then I got called Spanish in the field, and I was like, are you serious? What are you doing? And I don't like being bad at things. And I was really bad at it for a really long time. But it definitely gave me a testimony of the gift of tongues, because I didn't get books for the first couple months of my mission. And so I just tried to pick it up speaking with people and, like, practicing with my trainer and watching the church movies in Spanish over and over again, trying to understand. At first it was just, I would be able to kind of feel whether I should be nodding or shaking my head when people were talking. I had no idea what they were saying, but I could kind of feel, like, positive, negative, that kind of thing. And then with time I started understanding phrases and gospel things mostly. And then by the end of my mission I was fluent, but, like, it took forever for me to learn the language. But it was what I needed to do, and I felt really strongly about that.